Hey there, welcome to Something About Tabletop. So pretty much what this is going to be, this is going to be a how to create a character in Shadowrun. This is something that a lot of people can have trouble with, and also me, I've been running these games on the Tabletop Online one-shot group, all to do with Shadowrun. And the hardest thing is character creation, because it is so easy in this system to get your characters wrong, and this can be a bit of a problem. So I thought that I'd make a video. I'm going to post these on every single one shot that I do, so that you can make a character if you want beforehand, using the guidelines that I'm going to outline today. So I'm just going to go down the list, roughly following the character creation in the book, and maybe taking some deviations and talking about every section, and pretty much putting everything that you need to think of when making a Shadowrun character. Now obviously, starting with a Shadowrun character, you start like you do with any system, and that's your concept. So who is your character? If you don't really know who your character is, and instead you've been told, hey man, you want to play a Shadowrun game? We need a decker. So you go in and you go, well, I have to make a decker. So what I might do is I might just make a decker and then fit a story to him afterwards. I mean, it's usually easier to fit a story and then make a character, but a lot of the time I see people wanting to do some cool badass thing, like be a street samurai, be a snake man, or just be a decker, be a mage, and then they make a character around that. Do it how you do. Make your concept. It's as simple as that. So next, we go to fitting out your priorities. So in this game, there's a priority system. And to create a character, instead of having points or anything like that, you get a whole bunch of priorities that you use. And seeing as there's no classes either, which this is a classless system, we've also kind of covered this earlier in some of our earlier videos on Shadowrun. Now, how the priority table works is that it has one axis going priority A, B, C, D, E. The other axis of this table is going meta type, attributes, magic, skills, resources. And so pretty much how it goes is that a higher priority, say priority A magic, gives you, say if you want to be a magician, a priority A, you get magic 6 and 2 rating 5 magical skills and 10 spells. But rating E magic gives you no magic. Or rating A resources gives you $450,000, or E is 6,000. Now that's a very big difference, and this is very important when making your character. Now how this works is that you get 5 priorities that you have to pick to make your character. A, B, C, D, and E. Now you can't kind of change them up or down and have like get rid of an A and get so you don't have to have an E or anything like that. You absolutely have to have A, B, C, D, and E. So say if you pick magic at A, you can't pick anything else at A. If you pick magic at E, you can't have anything else at E. Simple as that. Now, this can be difficult to make the right priorities, what exactly you want, but the best thing to do is think about what your character wants. So generally, a decker wants high money, low magic, samurai the same. Magic users obviously having their magic at the highest, usually with their money at the lowest, but sometimes you can deviate it. Something I will warn you with is sacrificing attributes scores to be able to play your character. Me personally, I will never pick attributes at E, D, and I really don't like to pick them at C, but sometimes it's necessary to pick a certain kind of character. Now obviously if you want to play a different race, which is what your meta type is tied to, then that's good too. Or maybe you want to play an edge character. That's completely fine. Now from there, once you've picked this, let's say if we were going to make a street Sam, I personally would put resources at A, attributes at B, skills at C, race, let's say, at D, and magic at E. So I could be an elf or a human. If you wanted to make orc, you'd have to jig that around a bit, obviously. Now we're going to go down to qualities. Now what I'm going to say about qualities is there's positive and negative qualities. Negative qualities give you a boost. In the book it says to do this straight after your meta type, I think. Oh, it chooses to do your magic. But it tells you very early on. In my opinion, I would leave your qualities to near the end. If you have a quality that you really want for your character to work, because there's some very intriguing qualities, I'd suggest getting that at the end, especially for positive ones. Negative ones, pick them up now. Something to note also, if you don't know, you buy qualities with karma. You start with 25 karma. Now, your karma It's said to spend it at the end, but you can spend it while making your character. It doesn't really matter. But that's after you've applied everything anyway. So now we're going to be doing your attributes. So your attributes go like this. Whatever you took at the priority table for your attributes, say if you took at a B, you're going to get 20 points. Something to note though is that all of them start at 1 if you're a human. Depending on your race, it could be different. If you're an orc, your body starts at 4 instead of 1 and has a maximum of 9. Most attributes go up to a maximum of 6, but some of them, let's say the troll actually has a maximum of 4 charisma because, well, they're a troll. Something else to note also is that you can only have one stat at maximum, which is, say, it says 1 out of 6 for body. So as a human, if I wanted body 6, that's the only thing I can have at 6, and that can cause some problems. Something also to note, and this is also just something I personally don't like, you can do whatever you want, but ones, I'm just going to tell you right now, 1 is the equivalent of being the absolute worst at something. Your character, if there's 1 body, is probably some serious issues health-wise. 1 strength, you're like so weak, you're like a baby or a kid, that kind of thing. You're the lowest and the bottom of the barrel. So that's something to know when picking your attributes, that maybe something on 1 may not be what you want. But then again, if you really don't care, you don't care, whatever. A little tip and trick that I like to do also is in this game, when applying karma, it's cheaper to apply to things to karma when they're lower. So a little trick you can do is you can leave an attribute at 1 and then raise it with karma, which only costs 10. So I could say take charisma at 1, raise it to 2, and it only costs 10. That's pretty cool. Other than that, we're now going to move on to skills. Skills are pretty similar to attributes. There's a whole wide range of skills that you can pick from everything from driving, piloting aircraft, all the way to heavy weapons, even writing scrolls and magical spells and things like that, which is pretty cool. Now, apart from the skills, there are a few special things when doing them. One of them is of course skill groups. Now when you get your skills, especially between priority C to A, you get a little slash bracket and it'll have a number, and that number is the amount of skill group points you get. Now skill groups is a carry on from 4th edition. I'm not entirely sure why they kept them in, because it's a little bit different in the priority system, but either way they made it fit. So if you basically, there is a list of skill groups in the book, which is around page 100. I'll just probably chuck it here. Actually, page 90, I've just found it here. The skill groups are things like acting, athletics, enchanting, etc. And they usually contain 3 skills. Engineering contains 4. And it's kind of like a budget way to gain a group of skills, but you can't break it or add any points separately. You just buy the skill group. And then of course you have your attributes, and there's so many attributes and stuff like that, and many different skills. Just some tips and tricks when using skills. You don't need too many different combat skills. It's good to have one in melee, maybe one at ranged, and if you're a main combat guy, you might have a few others, maybe some heavy weapons, maybe you're really good at automatics, but you might want a pistol for close range or unarmed when you get in that situation. But most of the time, most people are going to be maybe rocking 1 or 2 actual combat skills apart from spellcasting. Something to also note, if you're a mage, you should probably have your spellcasting pretty high, unless you're being a summoner or anything. And hackers is where it gets a little bit difficult, depending on what you want to do. Also, some little trick that you can do is buying a skill at 1 with karma only costs 2 karma. So it's a really good way to get a whole range of skills at 1. Also, there's a thing called specialization, where you pick a skill and then you pick something inside of that skill that is more specialized and you become better at it. Let that be, say, I want to pick pistols as a skill, but my character is particularly good at using revolvers, so I take specialization, revolvers. It costs 1 point like any other skill points, but I get a +2 instead, but it's only with that thing. I would seriously suggest picking up a whole range of these. You can't actually do it with a skill group. If you do, you have to spend karma at the beginning of the game, and when you do, you also break the group, so you can no longer raise it as a team kind of thing. I'm not entirely sure why they do this, but they do. Another thing with skills is knowledge skills. Now, this is something me personally, I constantly freaking miss this stuff. Knowledge skills are incredibly important. They are, your street knowledge. Do I know this? Do I know that? They can never be applied to something physical. Like, say, if you wanted to make a knowledge check to make you better at shooting for a round. I'm sorry, you can't do that. I mean, some GMs may let you do that, but I'm not going to. But then again, if it's thematically appropriate, I may. It's just really depending on the situation. But knowledge skills, you get a amount of free points equal to your logic plus your intuition times 2. And what this gives you is a large range of points, which you can then spend for a range of skills, whatever they may be. Some people have shittle skills, some people have heaps. But in my opinion, I always find a way to get rid of them. Some ones that are always good to have are things like Knowledge Underworld, Knowledge, whatever your campaign setting is, like the region, say Seattle or Hong Kong. Stuff like that, that's something always good that you should have. Okay, now we go on to magic. This is where you finalize if you are magic. If you're not, skip this section, just go ahead. But if you are magic, you got to check, you got to get your, find out what your magic rating is, maybe spend extra points that you got from your meta type into it, or your resonance or whatever. And then get your complex forms, get your spells, or get your adept powers. I'm not gonna go too much deeper into that, but I would suggest, though, generally it is good to have a pretty high magic or resonance score as a major or technomancer. Pretty much everyone that I see that plays one has 6 in it. I'm going to suggest this as well. Unless you're going for more of a weird hybrid character, then take it a little bit lower. Or you're doing an adept. Adepts don't need it super high. You can sometimes get away with it being a little bit lower than usual. That's pretty much it for magic. Now, Yep. Okay, so now we get to spending money. This can either be very, very simple, or it can be incredibly daunting. Now, the thing with money is that there is a lot of stuff you have to think about. Now, one thing you absolutely should get is a sin. The sin is the thing that stops you from being caught out as a fraud. If you get pulled over the cops, you don't have to murder the motherfuckers to get away. And this is something incredibly important that you have to remember. Now, I always take this and I always get a rating 4, and that's $10,000 straight up. Not to mention, I get licenses for all of my weapons. This is also something that you should remember too. Licenses for pretty much everything you can get a license for. Just if a cop pulls you over, you check out. Unless, of course, he finds out your fake licenses are fake, which is entirely possible. But that's why it's good having the highest rating one possible. In my opinion, if you're going to be getting a rating 1, it's not worth it. I would only go bare minimum rating 3. But even then, to me, it's rating 4 minimum. Some may say this is a bit of a maxi point. If it is a part of your character not having a sin, or maybe your character is a legitimate citizen, you don't need a sin. Something else to note is obviously a home. You need a lifestyle. And in my opinion, it's probably good not to be completely homeless. It's a bit of a cop-out, especially for my one-shots. It's something I can't really draw upon if you don't have a home as a negative, because it is a big negative not having a home. Having a lifestyle also allows you to kind of automatically pay for things. I know that was a rule in 4th edition. I'm going to be honest, I don't know if it's a rule in 5th, but I kind of just put it in. You pay a certain amount for rent, and it kind of covers food and stuff and just general living conditions while you have that lifestyle. And it also denotes how well your character kind of dresses, how well they can afford and stuff like that. Maybe how they smell, how they eat, how healthy they are. I mean, any DM can go into that more. So, live high, guys. I mean, think about it. If you got a mission that was $50,000, you're probably not going to fucking cover your body in crazy genetic stuff so you can fight better. You're probably going to go get yourself a better home. But, I mean, if your character's crazy, which most Shadowrunners are, then you probably won't. Something to also remember is ammo. And when buying weapons, I've seen this multiple times. People are buying weapons they don't have skills in. Please get some skills in the guns you're going to use. Because look at it from a perspective of, I have something I don't know how to use. Would you really buy that? Maybe your character's just learning and you can kind of fit that into their backstory. I don't know. And apart from that, that's pretty much spending money. Obviously, for the Street Sam, you need to look into your bio and cyberware. I'm going to give you tips for Street Sams. Bio is very, very good. I know it's more expensive, but there's a lot of cool shit in there. You can fit more in you. So I tend to use a lot more bio than I do cyber. And now from here, we go to karma. So the best use the karma, you get 25 karma, and you can spend that on a whole wide range of things. With just the core book, it's pretty much just qualities, negative qualities, and things like that. Just remember, with negative and positive qualities, you have 25 points that you can use, both negative and positive. But of course, if you are, say, with nil rules, you can even buy use karma to buy for races, blah 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 blah. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you can use karma for. Check the book for it. You can buy skills and stuff like that. You can buy even money. This is a big tip for me. When I'm making a mage, you can convert a maximum of 10 of your karma into money. Each point of karma is $2,000. I generally dump 10 karma straight away. When booting a mage, $6,000 is enough to make a Shadowrunner. 26,000 on the other hand is just enough. So every single time I make a mage, I'm spending 10 karma on money. You don't have to, but I really suggest it. I even spend 10 karma on money with a character with $450,000. So yeah, money's pretty good. Though sometimes you can have a little bit too much money. Other than that, that's pretty much it. I mean, finalize your character, write down some descriptions. A really good idea is to put down all your dice pools for certain situations, because there can be a lot of random pluses. So when doing your shooting dice pool, maybe write down what you get with Smart Link, because you're probably going to have your Smart Link active most of the time with your gun. So just remember that. Maybe if you have quicken spells or sustain spells and stuff like that, maybe when your character, if he has like a rage adapt power, put that in somewhere on your character sheet, whether it be the back, to summarize everything. And now just for some final tips when building characters, some stuff that you need to be very aware of. And maybe some character builds that can be a bit of traps. One-trick ponies is one of them. I tend not to build one-trick ponies unless there are mages or hackers. And it's good to make a combat character good at something else. Whether that be driving, whether that be stealthing, whether that be talking. Because the thing is if you're only good at one thing, you're only going to be used for one thing. And you may spend the whole session even doing nothing. And you even start to think, why was my character even paid? He shouldn't have been. Also, something else to note is don't over-diversify. I've seen this a few times, where a character comes to the table with a character with 1,000 million skills, but his highest dice pool is 8 or 10. Now, unless those skills are so unique that other people don't have them, the thing is that you're in a team. So say if you're in a team of 5, and you come with a character that's a mage, their face, fighter and everything, and he's got 10 dice pool for everything. Every single character, generally, when you're making a character, it's good to have a dice pool of the thing that you're good at, from around 12 to 16, even higher, 12 up. And the thing that you're really good at, maybe 14 and 16, which is relatively easy to do in the rules with things like extra qualities and all this stuff like that. If your character can do everything at 8 or 10 dice, but everyone in your team can basically do the thing that you're doing, but with 14 dice, your character sinks to the background really quickly, and you may not even have fun playing him, and I've seen this happen before. Something you can do with that character build is, of course, use a lot of edge, which is also something you can do to final touch your character. I mean, that's pretty much it on character creation. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Very well, my name is Master Pla, and see you later.